The FBI's secret files on Marilyn Monroe. They reveal some of her friends were suspected communists, and she once considered traveling to the Soviet Union. The FBI kept files on her from 1955 until her death in 1962.
For all appearances, Rock Hudson seemed to be central casting for the Hollywood heartthrob. But as we now know, there was so much more to his story.
Yes, you see, I thought at the time, and when I was young, I was very young, and I thought, this is really the last.
Picture this, Hollywood Hills, California, 1958. The exclusive home of Rock Hudson, America's most beloved leading man. Inside an elegant living room, a husband and wife sit across from each other, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. What Rock Hudson doesn't know is that hidden microphones are capturing every word. What he's about to confess will remain buried for over 50 years. Then suddenly, his wife, Phyllis Gates, leans forward and asks the question that will destroy everything. Your great speed with me sexually. Are you that fast with boys?
I have sucked it. Almost from the get-go, he said, I sucked a dick. And Ray, they're cheering, yay, yay, and all that stuff. And then it just went.
For decades, Hollywood's biggest secrets were protected by studios, publicists, and carefully crafted images. But tonight, we're revealing the 5 most explosive blackmail recordings that nearly destroyed careers, toppled presidencies, and changed Hollywood forever. These aren't just rumors or gossip. These are actual recordings, secretly captured conversations, and hidden tapes that powerful people paid millions to suppress. From Rock Hudson's devastating gay confession to Marilyn Monroe's final phone calls, threatening to expose Kennedy family secrets, these recordings prove that in Hollywood, the truth always finds a way to surface. These revelations come from newly released FBI files, private detective archives that have been sealed for over 60 years, and documentary evidence that has only recently surfaced. The private investigator who captured most of these recordings, Fred Otash, was Hollywood's most feared detective. The man studios called when they needed problems to disappear. But Otash kept copies of everything. And now, with his archives finally open, we're hearing these voices from beyond the grave, finally telling their truth. Recording number 1, Rock Hudson's secret gay confession, the marriage that was all an act. In 1955, Universal Studios had a problem. Their biggest star, Rock Hudson, was gay in an era when that could end a career instantly. Their solution? Arranged marriage to studio secretary Phyllis Gates. For 3 years, they played the perfect Hollywood couple. But by 1958, the facade was crumbling. When Gates filed for divorce, Hudson offered her practically nothing, just a few $1,000s and her car. Desperate and facing financial ruin, Gates hired attorney Arthur Crowley, who reached out to Hollywood's most notorious private detective, Fred Otash. Otash had a plan. Get Hudson on tape confessing his homosexuality, then use it as leverage for a better divorce settlement. On a tense evening in their Hollywood Hills home, Gates confronted her husband while Otash's hidden microphones captured every word. The conversation that followed would remain secret for over 50 years. Gates said, "Your great speed with me sexually. Are you that fast with boys?" Hudson replied, "Well, it's a physical conjunction. Boys don't fit. So this is why it lasts longer." Gates pressed further. "Everyone knows that you were picking up boys off the street shortly after we were married and have continued to do so, thinking that being married would cover up for you." But Hudson quickly backtracked. "I have never picked up any boys on the street. I have never picked up any boys in a bar. Never." this wasn't just marital drama. This was survival. In 1958, homosexuality could destroy not just careers, but entire lives. Studios went to extraordinary lengths to protect their investments, arranging fake relationships and paying off potential scandals. Hudson's recording revealed the devastating personal cost of Hollywood's golden age facade. The recording worked exactly as Otash planned. Faced with the threat of exposure, Hudson's team quickly negotiated a settlement that gave Gates their Hollywood Hills home. $250 weekly for 10 years, equivalent to $1.3 million today, and stock in his production company. Hudson would remain closeted until 1985, when he became the first major celebrity to admit having AIDS, dying just months later at age 59.
Marilyn Monroe died 51 years ago today. Historians have long written about the possibility she had a relationship with President John F. Kennedy.
Recording number 2. Marilyn Monroe's final phone calls, the Kennedy secrets that killed. By August 1962, Marilyn Monroe was spiraling.
There are new intimate details of a reported relationship between a president and a Hollywood sex symbol.
Her affairs with both President John F. Kennedy and Attorney General Robert Kennedy had turned toxic. She felt used, discarded, and desperate. But Marilyn had something the most powerful family in America couldn't afford to lose: evidence of their affairs and potentially much more dangerous secrets. August 4th, 1962.
A handwritten letter from President John F. Kennedy to a woman believed to be his mistress is about to hit
Monroe's Brentwood home. Private Detective Fred Otash had bugged the house months earlier on behalf of mob boss Sam Giancana, who wanted dirt on the Kennedys for blackmail. What Otash's microphones captured that night were Monroe's final, desperate phone calls, conversations that may have sealed her fate. According to FBI documents and witness testimony, Monroe made a series of increasingly frantic calls. First to Peter Lawford, JFK's brother-in-law. Say goodbye to Pat, say goodbye to the president, and say goodbye to yourself because you're a nice guy. Then a call directly to JFK. The content of these conversations remained classified for decades, but witnesses who heard them described Monroe as hysterical and threatening to go public, which she'd overheard during pillow talk. FBI files from 1964 reveal that Monroe had threatened to expose their relationship and ruin RFK's presidential ambitions. The most explosive allegation came from private investigator files. Monroe confronted Robert Kennedy about forcing her to abort his child. According to Otash's unreleased notes, this confrontation happened in person at her home on the day she died. RFK allegedly left, never intending to return, while Peter Lawford cleaned up any incriminating evidence. Hours after these recorded phone calls, Monroe was found dead, naked in bed, clutching a telephone receiver. Her red diary vanished. All evidence linking her to the Kennedys disappeared. The rushed autopsy failed to examine stomach contents or blood properly. Detective Jack Clemens immediately suspected foul play, noting the body was neatly arranged, inconsistent with suicide.
Elizabeth Taylor died of heart failure today at 79, and every generation of Americans knew her and followed her turbulent life.
Recording number 3, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, when the Vatican declared war, 1962, Rome. The set of Cleopatra was already Hollywood's most expensive disaster, but then its married stars, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, began an affair that would scandalize the world. This wasn't just tabloid gossip. Their relationship became an international incident involving the Vatican, the U.S. Congress, and bomb threats. Paparazzi captured grainy black and white photos of Taylor and Burton on a yacht in Italy, engaging in passionate displays of affection while both were married to other people. These images exploded across global media. But what happened next was unprecedented. The Vatican itself intervened. Unlike the secret recordings of Hudson and Monroe, Taylor's confession was captured in audio interviews that remained hidden for decades until the 2024 documentary Elizabeth Taylor, The Lost Tapes. In these recordings, Taylor revealed the devastating personal cost of their public affair. The Vatican newspaper had come out with an item saying that I was so despicable a woman that my own children should be taken away from me. It's an attack that really, well, it made me vomit. In an unprecedented move, Vatican City's weekly newspaper charged Taylor with erotic vagrancy for sleeping with Burton while married to Eddie Fisher. The Vatican decried this insult to the nobility of the hearth. This wasn't just moral condemnation, it was an official church pronouncement that reverberated around the Catholic world. The recordings revealed even more personal pain. Taylor's own father turned against her. "My father called me a whore," she confessed in the tapes. "I met such opposition from everyone." The scandal was so intense that Congresswoman Iris Faircloth Blitch called on Congress to ban Taylor and Burton from re-entering the United States on grounds of undesirability. The situation escalated to actual violence. Taylor recalled in the recordings, "Somebody was at the studio trying to blow me up with a bomb. So the Italian FBI were out there for 5 days while we filmed. It was really a horrendous week." This wasn't Hollywood drama. It was real danger from religious extremists outraged by their affair. Despite the Vatican's condemnation, congressional threats, and bomb attempts, Taylor and Burton's love affair continued. They eventually divorced their respective spouses and married in 1964. Though their tempestuous relationship would lead to 2 marriages and 2 divorces between them. The paparazzi culture, born from their scandal, fundamentally changed celebrity journalism forever. Recording number 4, Frank Sinatra and the Mob Tapes, Hollywood's most dangerous friendship.
Sinatra indeed died at 10:50 p.m. Pacific time in the emergency room of Cedars-Sinai Medical Center.
For decades, rumors swirled about Frank Sinatra's connections to organized crime. The FBI maintained the largest file on any entertainer in U.S. history, tracking Sinatra's relationships with mob bosses Sam Giancana, Willie Moretti, and Frank Costello. But it wasn't until recently that the full extent of these recorded conversations became public. The FBI's wiretaps of known mobsters regularly captured Sinatra's voice, revealing the depth of his involvement in mob operations. These weren't casual friendships. Sinatra was actively participating in mob schemes, serving as a go-between for politicians and criminals. FBI surveillance in 1962 captured conversations between mob boss John Rosselli and Sam Giancana, discussing events at the Cal Neva Resort, where Marilyn Monroe was a guest just weeks before her death. Agent Bill Romer, who listened to these recordings, later revealed, "From what I heard over the wire, it appeared she may have had sex with both Sinatra and Giancana on the same trip." The recordings revealed how Sinatra arranged command performances for mob bosses, coercing other entertainers to perform for free at mob-controlled venues. When Eddie Fisher resisted performing at Giancana's Villa Venice Club in 1962, Sinatra told him, "Look, you're going over there for 18 days. Never mind about the Desert Inn. I already handled that. I take care of that. They do what I tell them." Most shocking were the recordings revealing Sinatra's involvement in mob blackmail schemes. Through his connection to Mickey Cohen, Sinatra invested $15,000 in a scandal sheet called Hollywood Nightlife, which was used to blackmail celebrities. The magazine would dig up dirt on stars, then threaten to publish unless the celebrities advertise with them. Classic extortion. The most dangerous recordings captured Sinatra facilitating meetings between Marilyn Monroe and mob figures like John Roselli. These tapes later became part of the mob's blackmail arsenal against the Kennedy brothers. Former FBI Assistant Director Courtney Evans confirmed that the FBI was aware that Giancana and Hoffa were using recordings to blackmail Kennedy over their affairs with Marilyn Monroe and other women. Despite the FBI's massive file on Sinatra, he was never indicted. His friendships with Presidents Kennedy, Nixon, and Reagan protected him from prosecution. When he died in 1998, Sinatra took these secrets to the grave, but the recordings live on, revealing the dark underbelly of Hollywood's golden age. Recording number 5, the David Letterman blackmail plot when late night got dangerous, October the 1st, 2009. David Letterman walked onto the set of The Late Show carrying a package that had been left in his car. Inside was a treatment for a screenplay titled David Letterman's Disturbing Story. But this wasn't fiction. Someone knew Letterman's secrets and wanted $2 million to keep quiet. The blackmailer was Robert Joe Halderman, a veteran producer for CBS's 48 Hours. Halderman had discovered Letterman's affairs with female staff members and crafted an elaborate extortion plot. But what Halderman didn't know was that Letterman had immediately contacted his lawyer and the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The FBI orchestrated a sting operation, secretly recording meetings between Halderman and Letterman's lawyer. These recordings captured Halderman explaining his scheme and accepting what he believed was a $2 million payoff, actually a phony check that would lead to his arrest. In an unprecedented move, Letterman decided to beat the blackmailer to the punch. On live television, he revealed the entire plot to his audience, including his own confession. The creepy stuff was that I have had sex with women who work for me on this show. Now my response to that is, yes, I have. Would it be embarrassing if it were made public? Perhaps it would, especially for the women. This case demonstrated how blackmail had evolved in the digital age. Unlike the hidden studio machinations of Hollywood's golden era, Letterman chose transparency over secrecy. His ratings actually jumped 38% after the revelation, showing how public attitudes toward celebrity scandals had shifted. Halderman was sentenced to 6 months in jail and 5 years probation. Letterman's career survived the scandal largely intact, proving that in the modern era, sometimes the best defense against blackmail is simply telling the truth first. The case became a template for how celebrities could handle extortion in the age of social media. The technology of secrets, how the blackmail industry worked. Private investigators like Fred Otash used cutting-edge technology for their time, miniature microphones, telephone taps, and hidden recording devices. Otash's surveillance car was equipped with radio equipment that could intercept phone calls and bug hotel rooms from blocks away. The blackmail industry required an extensive network of corrupt cops, hotel staff, telephone operators, and studio insiders. Otash bragged about having contacts in every major hotel in Los Angeles, allowing him to bug rooms where celebrities stayed. Studios, mob bosses, politicians, and private investigators formed a complex web of mutual protection and exploitation. Information was currency, and everyone was both buyer and seller in Hollywood's secret economy. The modern legacy, how these tapes changed everything. Many of these recordings led to changes in privacy laws and recording consent requirements. The Rock Hudson case influenced California's strict privacy statutes, while the Letterman case helped establish precedents for celebrity extortion prosecutions. These recordings fundamentally changed how we understand Hollywood's golden age. The carefully crafted images of stars like Rock Hudson and the Kennedy mystique were revealed as elaborate public relations constructs built on deception and fear. Today's celebrities face even greater surveillance threats from smartphones, social media, and digital recording devices. The blackmail techniques pioneered by investigators like Fred Attash have been democratized. Now, anyone can potentially capture compromising material. The survivors and the silenced Elizabeth Taylor lived long enough to control her own narrative, eventually releasing her own recordings through the Lost Tapes documentary. Her willingness to discuss the Vatican scandal on her own terms showed how stars could reclaim their stories. Rock Hudson died in 1985 without ever controlling his narrative about his sexuality. Marilyn Monroe's voice was silenced forever in 1962, her secrets dying with her, or being buried by those with too much to lose. Many recordings remain sealed or lost. Attash claimed to have hundreds of hours of material that has never been released. Some experts believe the most explosive tapes, potentially including recordings of President Kennedy himself, remain hidden in private collections or government files. The final truth. These 5 recordings represent more than just Hollywood gossip. They reveal the devastating human cost of fame in an era when image was everything and truth was a luxury few could afford. Rock Hudson's tragic confession shows a man trapped by his era's prejudices. Marilyn Monroe's final calls suggest a woman who knew too much and paid the ultimate price. Elizabeth Taylor's Vatican recordings reveal the global reach of Hollywood's scandal. Frank Sinatra's mob connections expose the criminal underbelly of show business, and David Letterman's modern blackmail case shows how the game has changed in the digital age. But perhaps the most chilling revelation is how many voices we'll never hear, how many secrets died with their keepers, how many tapes were destroyed, how many truths remain buried. In Hollywood, the most dangerous recording might be the one that was never made, the conversation that was never captured, the confession that died on someone's lips. The blackmail tapes of Hollywood's golden age prove that behind every perfectly crafted celebrity image was a human being with secrets, fears, and vulnerabilities. Some found the courage to control their own narratives. Others were silenced forever. And some secrets remain locked away, waiting for the next archive to open, the next investigator to come forward, the next recording to surface from Hollywood's hidden vault. The question isn't whether there are more tapes out there, is whether we're ready to hear what they have to say. Because in Hollywood, the truth doesn't stay buried forever. It just waits for the right moment to play back. What other Hollywood secrets do you think are still hidden in private archives? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Vintage Vault for more shocking revelations from Hollywood's hidden history. Next week, we're revealing the deathbed confessions that changed everything, including Frank Sinatra's final words about Marilyn Monroe's real cause of death. You won't want to miss it.